using your critical thinking and thinking, what am I doing here? Where did I come from? Where am I going?
Yeah,
has it ever occurred to you?
Yeah, that happens a lot.
And how are you dealing with that question?
How do I resolve that?
Yeah. Well, how do you go about in responding to the questions from your inner self?
You give the guy umbrella.
Cheers. I think a lot about material things. You know? I realise that you have one life, and I'm studying a great institution so that I can get a great job and have lots of materials, and that's kind of how I justify it.
Yeah, but that's the material pursuit of material happiness.
Yes.
Yeah. But does it really answer your existential question about where did I come from?
No, it doesn't.
What am I doing here? Where am I going?
Yeah, those are never questions.
Why are we all sort of programmed to die? I mean, this is...
Yeah. These questions, these aren't questions that I answer or have answers for. It's not even something I consider.
Yeah. Would you consider, or would you just say, it's not important enough?
Yeah, I think that the answers to those questions wouldn't benefit my life. I feel like I live in the material world, and that's where I get my joy, and that's where I get my calling, if you will.
So, what's the purpose of your life?
To make money. Buy lots of holidays, have kids.
Yep.
Get an education, learn a lot. I ask loads of questions. I stop and speak to people. I have a real engagement in the world.
Do you think? Sorry, if you don't mind. Do you think when you're just saying it? Do you think when you've had kids and you've grown up and you've got that money? Do you think around 60, 70, you think you'll start asking different questions? Do you reckon?
I don't know if I can go into it. It's being recorded.
It's fine. You can go into it though. We had a loss in the family, and it was just mention names.
Yeah.
I've been looking for you. I've been waiting for you. You mind?
And she had a granddaughter on the way, not hers, but a granddaughter on the way. And I went to go see her, and me and my dad went. We chatted to her, and it was so funny because she's like lying there with a couple months to live, and she said, "He's got some questions to answer when I get up there."
You see what I mean?
Yeah. So she was like,
it changes your perspective, doesn't it?
She was so happy. She was fine with what was going to happen. She had the answers to those questions.
So was she religious?
She was, very Christian.
You see? So, at least you've got some kind of answers. But go ahead, Brother Mansur. Sorry, you saying?
I mean, when we're in a pursuit for happiness, right? Essentially, it's all about your happiness. You're trying to get a job. Maybe you want some kind of fame and prestige and social position. Maybe you want the money, as you said. Why do you want the money? Because money will buy you a lot of things which will make you happy. So essentially, it's the material happiness that you're seeking. But there's something else that you feel inside you, which is not really materialistic. It's something spiritual. You might often feel that the attachment that you have often, materialism won't provide you the answers to. Think about yourself.
Bro, there's a lot.
You're wearing shoes for a reason.
Yep.
Yeah? You're wearing clothes for a reason. Everything in your own body seems like geared to fulfill a particular function. Your eyes, they're not here, but they acquire vision. I mean, you are supposed to see with your eyes.
Yep.
Your ears is going to make you hear and to also have you balance on your foot, right? You didn't put any of those there in place to make it work that way. You didn't put your lungs to breathe an exchange of gases, so you somehow exchange, this energy transformation through the gases, right? Neither did you program the heart to pump while even you're at your sleep. Yeah. When you're asleep, do you really tell your heart, keep on pumping bloods, keep on circulating bloods all over the body so my body is sustained? You don't. And when you sleep, do you remember that you have to breathe in and out to exchange information of gas? You do that without even knowing.
Yeah.
So how does that happen? I mean, every part of your body seems to be set, programmed for a specific function. If you say you don't have a purpose in your life, if whole parts of your body individually has a function, what's the function of your whole body together? You not setting that function, like acquiring money or gaining happiness, because you did not set your function of your digestive system to digest food, to break it down into usable energy. You didn't put that as a function. Yeah. You have even some of us don't even know how it works. Yeah, some don't have a clue how the digestive system, how the liver works, and it metabolizes and breaks down into active and inactive forms, and the kidneys get rid of it. Some of us even don't have a clue. But this is a very balanced, very precise, very engineered system within us. So, as a whole, the whole body, it doesn't make much sense to say the individual parts have a set function, but the body as a whole doesn't.
So what's your education?
Yeah. So we would say there definitely is a purpose for our whole body.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So the question is, how do we know what this purpose is? How do we find out this purpose? Of course, you have to learn, you have to study, and you have to research. Yeah. There are various ways of ascertaining this information, but we need to now think about how do we critically come to this affirmation and verification of our purpose. Many people tell you our purpose is to get happy, be happy. Life is like a cigar, and you smoke it, but that doesn't seem to be the purpose that you and everyone else shares. Some people are born disabled.
Thank you.
Yeah. Some people are born disabled, right?
Yeah.
They can't work like the jobs that you do, for example. So they won't be able to perhaps earn the money that you would earn. So does that mean they have no purpose in life?
Of course not.
Yeah. So how do we know? So we would say, look, this question is to be understood in a broader context, not just human beings. Because I am part of a living system here, or even matter, within a big cosmos, this universe. There are many other things. There are other organisms, other life forms. There are plants, there are trees, there are even planetary bodies. Each seem to be set there, fulfilling a purpose, a role. I mean, have you ever seen water just goes up from the ground, defying gravity, upwards, just like that when if you leave it on a glass? It doesn't. But this is what happens in the trees, inside the roots.
Capillarity, it's what I did my physics assignment.
Yeah, so
I did that in surface tension, by the way.
Yeah, very good. So there is a mechanism in place in which the water is driven from the bottom up the roots and branches to the leaves and so on by a specific mechanism that's set there. It's an engineered system.
Would you like to know how it works?
I know. I know.
Okay.
I did study biology at undergrad, and later on, fine, maybe not specific to like this, but when you specialize, it becomes specialized something else. But that's the knowledge that we know, that the system of all of these things, it doesn't seem to be like, it's just there, it happens. It's an accidental thing. It's like, you have some materials, sand and silica, plastics, whatever, and you just leave it in a warehouse, and one day some thugs just put fire in it, and then you went back the next day and you saw like, wow, the next generation computers. And in fact, there's a big warehouse in MiG-27. I mean, wow, look at this. Next generation phones and cameras, everything's there. It's just happened from that thing. You and I would not believe in that story for a reason. Why? Because these things are very much engineered and designed for a purpose. The camera is there. It can actually zoom in and out and take in pictures and record it. And we can see this recording later. But look at our eyes. We are told our eyes are not programmed, they're not designed, because we don't know the designer. I mean, that's one of the things that is argued against this particular form of thinking. But if you look at our eyes, you can zoom in and out. Yeah, you can see from a distance far. You can suddenly, if I put something there, your eyes have to adjust to focus clearly. Yeah, and if I remove it, I have to readjust it again to see something distance. Mm-hmm. And I can see colored vision. I can see everything in color. But as you probably know, when we see things, it's already inverted. The image is inverted. There's something there, a mechanism in our brain that inverts the image back to the way that we see now. All of this is happening apparently from coincidence and accidents, or rather, they would say, it just happened without a designer.
So do you believe that religion answers all of those questions? How are the eyes function, how the ears function, how we as a human being function?
Yeah. If you think about one thing, first of all, religion is not teaching you science, it's asking you to do science, right? Because the creator, this is from a Muslim perspective, the creator who created us created us for a reason, and this reason is to worship our Creator, to be thankful, to be grateful. That's the essence of worship. To be grateful to what we have been given and fulfill the purpose in this life, so that when this temporary, momentary life is over, then we are going to await and go into a life which is never-ending. Either a life of happiness and bliss, because that's the life what we should all go for, and the Creator wants us to do that, or a life in which there is going to be total suffering, unhappiness, pain, misery. He could have put us there directly, but the Creator created us so that we can test ourselves whether we deserve to go to this place. I mean, your teachers could have just given you the grades like that's it. Don't worry about studying it. There you go, certificate, first class degree. Go and do that. But they don't do that. They want you to explore and broaden your minds and understanding and knowledge and see whether you actually have understood it. They will examine you and see whether you're worthy of going into the next step, moving on to the next step. The Creator created us with a huge faculty of intellect and wants us to use our intellect to also live our life and follow what the Creator wants us to do. And if you can do that, then you are a successful one. You will go to the next one. But if you become an arrogant, like you don't want to sit for an exam, you don't want to even study, then of course you have to face the consequences. If you are arrogant and stubborn and an absolute denier that there is no exams whatsoever, there is no lessons to learn, and I want the certificate, yeah, it's not going to happen. There will be a consequence to face. So, if the Creator created us, He's given us the answers to why we're here, what we are doing, and where we're going. In terms of science, if you haven't thought about this, Islam and science are like twin sisters from the very inception of Islam. It encouraged people. Have you not seen how Allah created? Allah is the name of God in Islam, in the Arabic language, but He has many beautiful names. In fact, most of the beautiful names belongs to God. Okay, whether you call Him the most merciful, the most gracious, if you call Him the forgiving one, the kind, the just, all the perfect, absolute perfect names belongs to God, because He is a perfect creator.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
So, if you do something good for no reason, so you give someone your sandwich when they're hungry, or you help them with an exam and gain nothing in return, how do you feel that will impact you later on?
So, look at different perspectives. Someone, say, who doesn't believe in God, he or she, if they help someone, of course they're doing that because of their kindness, because they're on good heart. Okay? So they would feel that yes, they've done something.
I was asking about you.
Okay.
So what do you think?
If I do something, okay, we are encouraged to do that. We are encouraged to help others. We are encouraged to help the oppressed and the people who have been injustice done against them, and so on and so forth. This is sort of like a religious requirement that you have to. If you are going to live a life, you have to live a life where justice is implemented. Justice is very paramount and important. So make sure if someone is going hungry, you get rid of this misery of this hunger. We are told that we are not even a believer. We are not even a believer. We are not even a believer. 3 times our Prophet of Islam said this, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that if your neighbor goes hungry, in starvation, and you're fully fed, it's like we don't even have a belief. So part of our belief would be looking after our neighbors so that they don't get hungry and die in starvation. If I wasn't able to, other neighbors weren't able to, the Islamic State, which unfortunately doesn't exist at this minute, the land where Islam is implemented and there will be this governance system, this governance system will be responsible to look after the people, whether they're Muslims or not Muslims, within this land. They will be blamed if they were unable to fulfill this role. Yep. So yes, it is important for us to look after everyone else, not just because God says so, but you as a human being, as a kind, compassionate human being, God instills within you this noble character. That part of this nobility of your character is you elevate yourself from this greed, selfishness, jealousy, envy, and the like, all these bad character traits, and to enlift you, make you upright, make you truthful, make you honorable, make you kind and just, so that you can live in a system in which you can fulfill your duty and your purpose in life in a very comfortable way. But if you become the oppressor and you oppress others, it will be difficult for you and the others to fulfill this role. Look at people in war, for example. They suffer so much, and we are not able to do much. Why? Because it's going too much in a control where our hands are tied. We can't even help financially to get rid of this misery that people are suffering. If you do, you become like, oh, you're helping terrorism. Do you see that?
I see that war is more to do with politics. I saw the British bombed Yemen and then we sent aid. So like, it's all... It
is politics.
Can you...
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I do see that. What was your name, sorry?
Mansur.
Mansur, thank you so much. My name's Angus.
Angus.
Angus, yeah.
Angus. So the purpose, when we say, of our life is to be grateful to God, to worship God. Suppose now, think about yourself. You walked around and I walked around. Over there in your bike and I'm just walking, and a bus or a car runs over me, right? You take me to the hospital. I'm injured, I needed blood, you give me blood and you give me, an organ to sustain my life. And I wake up, much later, and I realize you've done all of this to me. Now, should I just say, get lost, why did you do that? I didn't ask for it. Or what would be my natural response?
To say thank you.
Should I thank you? To be grateful, exactly. Now think about Angus. Angus?
Angus.
Angus. The one who created us gave us the blood and the kidneys and the heart and so on and so forth, all of it. Not only that, the external nourishment, the gases, the oxygen, the water, the food, to sustain our life.
And it's right that you should feel grateful.
And how many of us are grateful? So being grateful is a natural response. The Creator is not asking us to do something unnatural. He's asking you to be actually in tune with the reality and say, this is what you do, but you do that in accordance to a particular way, so that you can then become worthy of the life hereafter, which will be life worth living. This life, you can make it worth living by being a very good person. And how are you going to be a good person? You have to follow the morals and the teachings and the guidance of your Creator, which will be good for everyone. Because the Creator is not going to say, kill that person and that person because they're black and they are white, or they're Chinese. Of course not. The Creator will tell you that, you have your nations and tribes and languages, not to despise each other, but to recognize each other. And the one who's the best among you is the one who's the most righteous among you, the most God-conscious among you, one who's what we call the one who's most pious. So I'm just giving you a rough understanding of what passage of the Quran, where God says this, the most noble among you is the one who is the most pious. It is not your language or your color or your where you're from that makes you great, but how much are you God conscious? So when we're about to die,
so I think I do need to go somewhere.
Yeah, let's leave that. No, that's fine. That's fine.
I'll give you a small little bit. It's great that you've spoken.
Yeah.
You've spoken a lot about how you feel grateful to your Creator. And I think I would respond by saying that I view my parents as my creators. The only reason I'm doing engineering is because both of my parents did engineering. And the reason that I debate and discuss and ask questions and look up stuff is because my parents did so. And I follow their teaching a little bit like I would
So you're
think.
grateful to them?
And I'm very grateful to them. They're paying for me to come to London. That's why I'm here.
Sure.
So
I would say that's good, yeah? Sorry, dude. I would say, I would think that as well. I'm grateful to my parents, yeah? I'm grateful to the one who created my parents. Do you get it? And if you go far back
It's
enough.
like a step up, yeah.
Do you get what I mean, bro? Look.
I was thinking that my parents, I follow my parents' teachings in the same way you follow the Quran's teachings.
Yeah. No, in the Quran, we're told to respect your parents and to obey your parents. Yeah?
Okay.
But the fact of the matter is, if I'm sorry, what was it? Angus, isn't it?
Angus, yeah.
Angus, look. If we're grateful to our parents, yeah, like I love my mom, I love my dad, yeah, but I'm glad to the Lord of the worlds who created them and gave them the capability to look after me.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean, Angus?
Yeah.
Obviously, look, it's a noble thing what you said, but what I would advise you is think further than that, my friend, because that's exactly what I would say to you. That look, your parents raised you, yeah. God created you. God gave you the ability to be thankful to your mom and dad. But he also gave you the ability to think further, Angus, and be thankful to the one who created the heavens and the earth. Because like I told you earlier on, when you get to the age of 70, yeah, we're gonna wonder, look, when I don't want to, not being morbid, but
Go for it,
later on, bro, yeah, life is reality.